Dale. Hi, everybody. I had a question. I just wanted to ask, if you're starting off as a small business owner or, an entrepreneur, whether you're in real estate or starting up another business, what would be the best type of entity to form? Would it be an LLC or which other type of, entity would be best for a solo entrepreneur?
Okay, good question. And the answer to that question is the same answer to most tax question is, it depends. Okay, but as a general rule, I am for a solo entrepreneur where you're the only shareholder or member, you own 100% of the business. I tend to lean toward S corporations as opposed to a single member LLC, because a single member LLC, unless you elect otherwise, unless you elect it to be a C corporation or an S corporation, a single member LLC it starts off as a disregarded entity for federal income tax purposes, and most states comply to this. So what does that mean? That means as far as the tax law is concerned, you're just like a sole proprietor, and you file your taxes, your federal taxes on Schedule C. Everybody's probably seen that. It's your typical business schedule that goes on an individual return. So, I don't really see, other than possibly some limited liability protection, I don't really see the advantage of being a single member LLC. Okay. Now, multi-member LLC is a different animal. Now, they have their pluses and their minuses. One of the pluses of the multi-member LLC is they're very flexible. You can structure them so, say you have a partner and you can say, well, you're putting in the money, I'm putting in the work. Let's say we have a loss. Here's what we'll do. You get 90% of the loss, I get 10%, but if we get a profit, we split 50-50. So you can have those profit sharing and those flexibility arrangements in a multi-member LLC. But back to being just one person. I tend to favor an S corporation for one person because it gives you, there's some good tax advantages to it that, we won't really have time to go into, but it gives you the, the liability protection, assuming you keep everything separate like you're supposed to. And you have it's its own taxable entity, which has a lot of advantages. The disadvantages of an S corporation are, you have to file a separate S corporation tax return, cost you some money. In California, S corporations are generally not taxed at the corporate level. The income passes through to the individuals. Although in California, as well as some other states, there's some modest S corporation taxes, like California is 1.5%. So each of these, single member LLC, multi-member LLC, S corporation, C corporation, they all have their pluses and minuses. I tend to like the S corporation for, 100% owners or husband and wife owners. Now, when you have multiple owners, you start to, run into other issues, both with S corporations and with LLCs. One of the things I'll caution, you about is you want to be very, very careful before you wind up a minority owner in an LLC or an S corporation, and to some degree a C corporation. Why do you want to be very, very careful about this? If you own 49% of it and somebody else owns 51%, that means they get to make all the decisions about how much profit is actually, or how much distribution is actually paid out to cover the taxes. And I've seen people wind up in a situation where they're a minority member in an LLC partnership or in an S corporation, and the income is passed through to them on paper, sometimes a lot of income, sometimes millions of dollars, passes through to them on paper, and the S corporation or the partnership doesn't distribute the cash, okay? And sometimes they don't even distribute the cash, enough of it to pay the taxes. So you can wind up in a situation where you have a lot of money passed through to you in corporate S Corp profits or LLC profits, and you have no cash distributed to pay the tax. So it's called phantom income, and it's an enormous problem. So be very careful who you go in business with, and be very cautious about allowing yourself to have less than, less than 50. I guess it would be 50% because they'd be deadlocked. Now that said, a shareholder and an S minority shareholder, you've got legal recourse. You can always sue. You can go to court. You can do this. You can do that. But I mean, who wants to be there? Best to avoid the problem in the first place.